Oh well, start of another mission, and the first thing we've got to do is top up our DEF tanks, or that's what the American boys call them, or what we call them in New Zealand is the AdBlue. There it is there, our DEF thing. So not the easiest thing in the world to do with a broken toe. Fuck, it hurts. On the road, but I forgot to do one thing. My flash new speedo. Here we go. This is the thing that helps me keep my speed down. So very important. All right, let's roll. Here's old Gummy. Who's taking it today? Man, I love that big truck. Who's got my truck today? Neil. Oh well, he'll be loving that, I can tell you. There's old Stina. I used to roll in that till the season changed. See, what happened was there's old Boyd chatting away. Yeah, I'm sure he was just scratching the side of his head with his phone. But what happened was there's a whole lot of farmers up in Owakuni, the central districts, and when they're growing, they need to have a truck hard out at their disposal. So that's where the old company stepped up and provided them a vehicle to transport all their stuff to their markets. But when the growing season's not on, of course, it means that my regular gig's not there, so I'm just jumping in doing all kinds of stuff at the moment. That's why I'm doing these night swaps. I'm running down to the bay, cruising over to Wellington, running direct to Auckland. Today we got just a swap. We're taking this 500 horsepower semi Scania. This is what she looks like. She got there's sunroofs are cool in the summer. Pretty Spartan, pretty utilitarian, just pretty ordinary little truck. And we're going to be swapping it with a truck and trailer combo at Taupo or somewhere up that way. Normally I run further than Taupo. I get up to Aotearoa, sometimes Tokoroa. I haven't yet made it to Patadou for my swap, but you never know, today might be the day. So it's all good. Here's my tablet. Help me keep my speed down. I don't really like the idea of sticking it there because I can't see my other gauges, and I probably won't leave it there for long. But this truck has been damaged. All this panel's been ripped out. The thing that holds, the cradle that holds our tablets over here, it's all been vandalized and ripped out. You know, big company gear, eh? No one gives a shit. Fuck, it pisses me off. So I need to work for an owner operator, and that's why I desperately want my own truck, because then you can take care of it, you know. But we'll see how long I can handle that there without freaking out with what's going on behind it. You know, I need to know my temperatures and pressures and stuff, hey. I can't see it being there for very long, but that's where it needs to be. Anyway, truck on, peeps. Life's good. I don't know if you can see it, but see that big Mercedes signs down there? They got brand new Freightliners for sale in there. They got two Argosies and a Coronado, and I really like the Coronado. I like bonneted trucks, even though the cabs aren't as roomy. I do like bonneted trucks because I like the idea of 8 feet of solid steel separating me and the oncoming drunk driver, or the bank if I slide into the bank. Or I just like the idea of having a little bit more protection than a piece of fiberglass in a radiator. Got a loose clip flapping around back there. It's trouble when these things are really windy. The tarps move, or the curtain siders move, and sometimes the clips come undone. So I best find a place to pull over and go along and tighten every single one of them up. Yeah, what the hell's that thing? I think that was a Ferrari California. Okay, one of the cool features of these Scanias that I wish other trucks had is, okay, so we're driving along, boogieing along, and like we're gaining speed, right, because we're going downhill. So what I can do is I can put my foot on the brake, slow the vehicle to say, we'll say, what do we want? We're empty, so it's not exactly weight critical at the moment. So I slow the vehicle at 80k. So I've got the brake on at 80k, and then I've taken my foot off the brake. See? Okay, the vehicle is braking itself. My feet are still off the pedals, but it's holding itself at 80 kilometers an hour. There is no retardation going on. There's no engine braking going on. This is just the truck holding itself at a constant 79-80 kilometers an hour, and that is such a cool feature. Oh my god, it's my dream rig! Look at that! Yeah! Oh no, no. Oh, there's the cops chasing him. Okay, main freight! You got it, mate! You go, boy! See, the other day I was talking about, you know, not being mulleted by education. Now I can sort of take that one step further and give you a really good example. When I was doing my wood cuts, I got shown this technique called reduction cuts, where you make a print and you chop a bit off, change the colour of the block, and do it again and do it again and do it again until you've chopped away all your block and you've just got a whole lot of colours printed down over your image, right? So I showed a friend of mine some of these reduction cuts I'd been doing, and he freaked out because I had blues and I had reds on my thing, on my print, on my image. And he was like, dude, you can't do this. You can't mix red and blues on a reduction cut. You just can't do it. And yet he was holding the evidence in his hand saying that, well, actually you can, mate. And that's the advantage of not being educated, is that I didn't know you couldn't do it. So I found a way to you can do it. And when I showed my educated a guy who I thought was my friend, he actually turned out to be a fucking piece of Judas ass traitorous shit. And he was just like blown away. It's because he'd been to art school, spent a shitload of money, got a degree in art of all fucking things, right? And then during that process they'd convinced him that you couldn't do that, and so when somebody comes along and does it, he couldn't believe it. So that's the advantage of having an army education rather than a university education, because the army says find the way, whereas the university education goes, this is the way. So you're better off being a soldier. I sure as shit was anyway. Can you imagine me in a university? I'm in the golden world. So I just had to talk to my dispatcher. Turns out that's Lake Taupo over there. I'm supposed to be meeting the swap truck about 20 minutes up the road, but he hasn't even left Auckland yet. Well, actually he's still in Pukekohe getting all loaded up. And so that means I'm going to be trucking on, man. I'm going to be getting some serious miles up today, and I'm right into that buzz, because the more miles I do, the more I love it. You know, there's just nothing cooler in this world as far as I'm concerned than to be doing exactly what I'm doing now. The only thing that I would possibly change is the vehicle that I'm in. You know, I want that big Argosy, or I want a big liveaboard truck, you know, and that's what I want my home to be. You know, they talk about gypsies and house truckers, but the only real drifters in the world are truck drivers, or pilots, and probably those girls that work on airplanes, and probably Navy people and ship people. There's a lot of travellers out there, but the hardest core, the ones of the lot, the coolest ones of the lot, the best ones of the lot, are all the truckers, mate. This is our stuff, mate. Truckers are the best all day long. Okay, well, I just had an electrical emergency with my cool little tablet thing there. See, that tablet is also my logbook and speedo and all, and it's my phone, and it's a really good little computer for me in my trucking job. I really like it. But turns out that the USB port down here isn't charging, and I was driving along the road, and then this warning came up saying, hey mate, you're down to nearly no power in your logbook. And I'm like, uh-oh, that's got to be a major, because if that conks out and the feds want to look at it, what do I do? So luckily I managed to pull over to a petrol station, buy one of those cigarette lighter 12-volt adapter things, and we're back up and running. But bit of an anxious moment, and the thing's charging away now. But man, I was a bit freaked out about that, because, you know, imagine if your logbook suddenly just died it on you and the feds pulled you over. Well, I'm sorry, how was I supposed to know that the USB port wasn't charged? Well, I'm still heading up country and haven't got my swap partner yet. He's still like probably a couple of hours away, so it's going to be a big long night tonight. I'll probably max out my hours. Luckily I don't have to make it all the way back to Palmy, because the Wellington driver is going to be taking this truck off me at Sanson, so there's a half hour I can save on my book, but I don't know. We just have to see what happens. You know, speaking of these duplicitous people and how they're at, you know, I mean, I don't really get it, I don't really understand it, and I don't really want to be a part of it. You know, if someone hasn't got the courage to say what they mean, well then they don't really I don't really belong with those kind of people, and I don't really hang out with those kind of people. And you know, how could you go into an agreement with somebody like that? You know, I mean, and if you wouldn't know when they were being truthful, you wouldn't know when they were lying, you know, and what kind of business arrangement or partnership would that be? You'd be stupid to make a deal with someone who doesn't mean what they say. And if it means the lonely road for me, well then it's the way it is. But doesn't look too bad to me, you know. I've trusted those smart people before, and it got me absolutely nowhere. I think I'm quite happy cutting my own track, living this gypsy life. Anyway, to all those diesel cowboys out there, rock on, and I'll see you on the next one. Bit of a bitchy blog, this one. I'll grow out of it, trust me. Patience, people.